how different organizations work, like operation, HR, finance, marketing. I had no idea about what operation is. Like literally, I had no idea. Like marketing, I
Hmm.
was going, but operation not at all. Like, but now
Hmm.
I know what operation is, and like we would be getting more clear, like how, like what we have to
Guys, please
pursue,
open your camera. All guys, हाँ बोली please.
like what we have to pursue in our future. Like
Right.
sometimes we are not clear about that. We just go with our flow. Like okay, मुझे finance ही करना है because everyone is doing that. मुझे HR ही करना है because everyone is doing that. We don't know
Hmm.
like where we belong. So
Hmm.
I think by doing this, we would be clear about that.
Hmm. Hmm. You will be clear and what exactly you are getting, that I am more interested in that.
So
कि
like
मिल क्या
now,
रहा है, आखिर क्या फायदा हो रहा है, मैनेजमेंट करने की जरूरत क्या थी तुम्हें? बाद में करती, कैट करने के बाद करती तो भी काम चल जाता।
but sir, like after doing CAT, like CAT के बाद तो we are doing MBA. So
हम्म।
but sir, actually, like doing at this stage, that's what I told you. Like doing at this stage of our life, we are where we are doing our undergraduation. We are new. We have like new ideas. So like
वर्ल्ड इज चेंजिंग वेरी फास्ट, यू नेवर नो।
yes,
जैसे अभी तक क्या हो रहा था, पूरी दुनिया में जो पीएचडी करता था उसी को असिस्टेंट मैनेजर बनाते थे। सडनली यूजीसी ने रूल चेंज कर दिया कि जिसने पीजी करी है और नेट क्वालिफाई किया है, दे कैन आल्सो बिकम असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर। तो इफ यू आर नॉट रेडी टू बिकम असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर and handle the boys or girls, you cannot handle the situation, right? Anyway, ये समीक्षा क्या फायदा हो रहा है तुम्हें भाई? माना कि जो मैनेजमेंट आप कर रहे हो या सीख रहे हो, इतनी सारी टर्मिनोलॉजी से होके गुजर रहे हो, कैसा लग रहा है और क्या फायदा क्या हो रहा है? आई थिंक इट्स, यू हैव वेस्टेड योर मनी अननेसेसरी। आपने टाइम वेस्ट किया, पैसा घर वालों का बर्बाद किया। अभी तो यूजी में हो, आपको जरूरत क्या थी ये सब करने की? बाद में करते आप ग्रेजुएशन के बाद। व्हाट यू हैव गेन्ड आउट ऑफ दिस?
Good evening, sir. Sir, actually, I chose this course because I wanted to know that what specialization do I actually want to opt if I have to do my master's in management after my UG. And yes, like as we're moving on with the classes and everything, I'm getting a clear, like I know, like I'm pretty sure that by the end of this program, I'll know the answer to what specialization I have to do. Plus, I'll gain some work experience. And the thing is, I fail to notice how we apply management in our day to day life, not just as a manager, but as a student, as a human being. And that is what I'm slowly realizing with each passing day, that how I basically use all these theories and how we've been using these theories without even knowing them in our day-to-day lives before learning this course. So it's just a realization for now. Like if I'm doing a simple thing, like if my mom leaves me at home alone and I'm looking after course and everything, the order in which I'm doing the course, I never really realized how I use my brain before to order those courses in which order I have to do them. But now, like when I do them, I realize I'm using this, I'm using that to do this code, to do this and to do this not. So yeah, these are the things that I realize. And yes, I'll be able to choose my specialization for MIM. So yes.
Great. Yes. So good evening, ma'am. Ma'am is also there.
Good
So since
evening.
you were
Good
not
evening,
there, so
everyone.
I was just utilizing the time to understand.
Good evening, ma'am. Good
Good
evening,
evening,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Please, ma'am, आप continue करें. Right.
अच्छा अच्छा
हाँ. ये share. I will give the sharing. कशिश, पहला दिन कैसा रहा? कुछ समझ में आया मैनेजमेंट का?
Yes, sir.
क्या क्या लग रहा है, मतलब
Sir,
नाउ?
it was nice and sir, I'm feeling कि like जिस perspective से मैंने join किया है वो fulfill हो जाएगा मेरा.
क्या प्रोस्पेक्टिव है और क्या फुलफिल हो जाएगा?
So, as I've told you about that, I'm doing my CAT preparation and I want to target basically I am Ahmedabad for 2025 and I'm preparing it like that. I so that I can get my admission into that. And as you have told me that I will get help in my interview if I do this course. So yes, by attending yesterday's class, I'm feeling ki I can do that.
सी फर्स्ट अपने कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर कर लो कि आईआईएम्स हैं क्या। आईआईएम्स आर अ प्रोसेसिंग प्लेस,
Yes, sir.
जहां पे वो एक पॉलिश करते हैं एक बहुत ही टैलेंटेड बच्चे को और
Yes, sir.
आगे कंपनी के लिए तैयार कर देते हैं ताकि वो उनके कॉर्पोरेट अफेयर्स को संभाल सके। सिंपल।
Yes, sir.
आप जितना तैयार होके जाओगे उनके लिए वो काम उतना आसान होगा।
Yes, sir.
और ये बात कोई समझता नहीं है, वो सोचते हैं कैट का स्कोर, उनको कोई मतलब नहीं है आपके कैट के स्कोर से। दे नीड मोर मेच्योर माइंड हु कैन हैंडल द बिजनेस, बिकॉज जो आपको जॉब देगा दे आर इनटू प्योर बिजनेस।
Yes, sir.
बाकी सारी बातें सब कलेवर है,
Mm.
उनको किसी चीज से कोई लेना देना नहीं है। कल को अगर आपको 1 करोड़ का पैकेज मिलता है तो दे विल हाईलाइट इट लाइक एनीथिंग। तो वो पैकेज उनको नहीं मिला, वो पैकेज उस पॉलिस बंदे को मिला जो ऑलरेडी आईआईटी आईआईएम करके जा रहा है, आईटी से जा रहा है, या आप करके जा रहे हो, आप पहले से बहुत सारे एक्सपीरियंस लेके जा रहे हो। दैट्स
Yes,
व्हाई
sir.
दे प्रिफर एक्सपीरियंस पीपल।
Yes.
पास्ट में क्या हुआ कि उन्होंने केवल कैट स्कोर लेना शुरू किया, सारे इंजीनियर्स पढ़ाकू लोग पहुंच गए, एंड दे वर
Yes,
गुड फॉर
sir.
नथिंग। वो काम
Yes, sir.
करने लायक नहीं थे, वो तो बस उनको ऑफिस में दे दो, बस अपना क्लरिकल जॉब के लिए गुड थे। बट इन बिजनेस एनवायरनमेंट यू नीड डायनामिक पीपल।
Yes, sir.
आज कंपनियां स्ट्रगल कर रही हैं। टुडे आई वाज जस्ट टॉकिंग विद वन ऑफ द डायरेक्टर ऑफ द कंपनी, ही इज सेइंग कि आई एम नॉट गेटिंग गुड पर्सन एंड ही इज रेडी टू पे 30 लाख रुपए पर ईयर। कैन यू इमेजिन? अब बोलो 30 लाख रुपए लेके बैठे हुए हैं, कोई ढंग का बंदा नहीं मिल रहा है, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है सर? मुझे ही रख लीजिए। रख तो लें आपको, लेकिन आप उस लायक भी तो बनो, पहले अपने आप को बनाओ तो सही 30 लाख के लायक।
Yes, sir.
यू शुड बी नेक्स्ट टू दैट गाय कि आप उनकी पूरी पेन, पूरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, पूरा बिजनेस, पूरा प्रोसेस सब लेने के लिए तैयार हो। वो 30 क्या, आप 50 देने को राजी हैं, आ जाओ आप। तो बट यू हैव डेमोन्स्ट्रेट दोज कैपेबिलिटी। बड़ा सिंपल प्रोसेस है आईएएम का और कुछ नहीं है।
Yes.
एंड दे क्लियर योर कॉन्सेप्ट, जो आप यहाँ पे क्लियर कर पा रहे हो। और सेकंड थिंग कि जब आप बीए पढ़ते हो या बीएससी पढ़ते हो तो आपको बिजनेस से रिलेटेड कोई चीज, कोई टर्मिनोलॉजी नहीं पता होती। यहाँ पे आके आपको कितनी सारी टर्मिनोलॉजी पता चल रही है। उतने में तो मैं समझता हूँ आपका दिमाग बॉयल डाउन हो जाना चाहिए, बहुत सारी इमेजिनेटिव थॉट्स तुरंत वर्क करने लगे होंगे, तुरंत कोरिलेट करने लगे होगे आप हर एक चीज को अपने लाइफ में। दैट विल क्रिएट ए सक्सेस। और मैं बार बार पूरी दुनिया को कह रहा हूं, चाहे आप फार्मेसी में हो, चाहे मेडिकल में हो, चाहे दुनिया के किसी भी धंधे में हो, आप बिजनेस में हो, अगर रोजी रोटी कमा रहे हो तो, और अगर बिजनेस में हो और बिना बिजनेस मैनेजमेंट किए काम कर रहे हो, तो आप जस्टिस तो नहीं कर रहे हो। इसलिए मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूं कि बीटेक के साथ मैनेजमेंट सर्टिफिकेट स्टार्ट कर ले लो। आपके यहाँ कोई फिलॉसफी कर रहा है तो फिलॉसफी विथ मैनेजमेंट सर्टिफिकेट कर ले, जियोग्राफी विथ मैनेजमेंट सर्टिफिकेट कर ले, बीएड विथ मैनेजमेंट सर्टिफिकेट कर ले, देखो उसका कमाल, वो अलग ही बंदा होगा। एनीवे, आई एम रियली सॉरी मैम, आई हैव टेकन योर टाइम।
नहीं नहीं, इट इज व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज करेक्ट, क्योंकि यू नीड मैनेजमेंट एवरीवेयर।
मैं मतलब इतना कन्विंस हूँ इस मैनेजमेंट को लेकर के समहाउ कि आप यकीन नहीं करो कि मैं तो चाहता हूँ कि दुनिया का हर आदमी मैनेजमेंट पढ़ ले। और बाहर के देशों में ये होता है, हिस्ट्री विथ मैनेजमेंट सर्टिफिकेशन। यहाँ हिस्ट्री को मैनेजमेंट करोगे तो बोलेंगे अरे ये क्या हो गया, क्योंकि यहाँ पढ़े लिखे लोग कम है, अंगूठा छाप ज्यादा है। यहाँ 2 साल का एमबीए क्यों होता है? कि ज्यादा पैसा मिल सके। आइडिया ये है कि मैनेजमेंट का कॉन्सेप्ट आपका क्लियर हो जाना चाहिए, चाहे 2 साल पढ़ो, चाहे 6 महीने पढ़ो, चाहे 15 मिनट पढ़ो। आई टोल्ड यू कि एक बार मैं आई वाज जस्ट डूइंग माय एडवांस जनरल मैनेजमेंट प्रोग्राम फ्रॉम आईएम कोलकाता। तो एक प्रोफेसर है, प्रोफेसर रंजन दास, आईएम कोलकाता के। तो मैं उनके पास एक मोटी किताब लेके गया स्ट्रेटजी की। तो मैंने कहा सर कुछ इसमें से निशान लगा दो चैप्टर का ताकि मैं स्ट्रेटजी पढ़ के समझ सकूं। तो वो हंसने लगे। तो बोले यार किताब से स्ट्रेटेजी थोड़ी सीखी जाती है। तो मैंने कहा सर फिर कैसे सीखेंगे? तो उन्होंने कहा मैं 3 लाइन बता रहा हूं आपको, कभी जिंदगी में किताब उठाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। एंड डू यू नो कि वो 3 लाइनें क्या थी? कि करंट कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन टू करेक्ट द फ्यूचर। तो स्ट्रेटेजी हमेशा फ्यूचर के लिए होती है। करंट कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन टू करेक्ट द फ्यूचर, जो भी आज तुम कर रहे हो वो फ्यूचर को करेक्ट करने के लिए कर रहे हो। तो मैनेजमेंट करना आपकी एक स्ट्रेटेजी है। अरे गेटिंग पॉइंट? इट शुड बी कॉन्टेक्चुअल। किस कंटेक्स्ट में, किस संदर्भ में आप ये मैनेजमेंट कर रहे हो या कोई भी काम कर रहे हो। एंड इट शुड बी डिफरेंशिएटेड वन। एक ऐसा एलिमेंट हो जो दुनिया से जुदा हो। एक छोटा सा एलिमेंट भी अगर है उसमें, अगर पूरी दुनिया से जुदा है, तो आपकी स्ट्रेटजी सक्सेसफुल है। 3 लाइन में समझा दिया। बोला कुछ भी करो, अगर ये 3 एलिमेंट मिल जाए तो मान लेना कि तुम्हारी स्ट्रेटजी काम कर रही है। और नहीं आए तो फिर समझ लेना कि कुछ गड़बड़ है। अब सोचो, पूरी किताब में लेके बैठा हुआ हूं कि सर इसमें से कुछ समझा दीजिए, वो 3 लाइन में। ये होते हैं प्रोफेसर। 3 लाइन में बता दिया कि जाओ अपना जिंदगी भर। मैं आज तक 20, मतलब कितना साल हो गया, 2010 में किया था हमने, आज कितना 14 साल हो गया। आज तक वो 3 बातें मैं भूल नहीं पाया। क्या पावरफुल, मतलब वो रहा होगा उनका, थीम रहा होगा। एनीवे प्लीज कंटिन्यू। तो इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं कि मैम की हर बात मोती की तरह है। बहुत गहराई से, बहुत ध्यान से सुना करें आप लोग। और हर बात में बहुत अच्छी चीज निकल के आती है, लेकिन आप उसको गहराई से लो। रटने के अंदाज से मत लो, समझने के अंदाज से लो कि उसमें कितनी गहराई है उनकी बातों में। क्योंकि ये जो अनुभव मिल रहा है ना, ये अनुभव एक दिन का नहीं है, वो 30 साल का है, 40 साल का अनुभव है। तो उसकी वैल्यू करो आप। राइट? एनीवे प्लीज मैम कंटिन्यू।
Oh, thank you. Yesterday we were doing materials management. We had come to the purchasing function, because from here everything starts from the raw material. Raw material, you're adding, processing, adding value to it, and it is becoming the final product or service, whatever you are doing, whether you are in the service industry or whether you are in the production process. The first step is the purchasing function. Who will read? Achal? Achal, are you there? Hello?
No, ma'am, she is not in the class right now.
Acha. Anu Kumari?
Yes, ma'am.
So you read what is the purchasing function?
The purchasing function. The purchasing function is, sorry, the purchasing function used to be a part of the production function and is little status in the organization. Over the past few decades, however, the purchasing activity has grown in status through recognition of the contribution it to make the success of any enterprise, and how it is now recognized as a separate function in its own right. It is the interesting sorry to consider the numerous impact efficient purchasing or recruitment, as it is often called has the cost of an organization. By rational buying, the purchasing department can generate profit immediately. The huge responsibility failing on those concerned with the purchasing, therefore, is clearly visible. That this has come this has come about because of the increasing size of organization, the increase in complexity of a material and component, and the extreme competition meet in the modern market. The purchasing function differs from most other in that those carry out these work uh, are to are to a large extent tied to their own industry. However, there are many activities within the purchasing function that are common to many industries and other type of enterprise.
So this is the first thing. Initially, like for example, supply chain management. This word, this nomenclature is not very old, but the things are moving in that direction only, from raw material to manufacturing, from manufacturing to warehouse, from warehouse to retail, from retail to the final consumer. So, but only some 50, 30, 40 years back, we have realized the how integrated approach helps in meeting your goal. So in the same way, purchasing was, first it was just a part of production. Ki production will do the purchasing, but now they have realized ki that is the initial stage. You must have heard this thing. Ki anything which is well begun is half done. If you for the first time only, if you do it right, naturally later on, like sir was saying, ki what is strategy? Doing something today for future. So this is what you are purchasing today. It is for future production, uh, for either good or service. So it is the very first step which has to be critically examined and done properly. So that is why so much importance is now being made on purchasing. Purchasing is also known as procurement. Just one second. Now continue. Common purchasing
Common
activity. Hmm.
Common purchasing activity. All buyers will need to have a wide knowledge of the market from which they have to make their purchases, whether these are raw material, manufactured component, or as wholesale or retail trading finished goods. The knowledge will extend to how the suppliers perform in regard to reliability and delivery performance. In most of the manufacturing industries, buyers will have to interact closely with the production department to ascertain their price requirement. In
The
retail selling,
precise,
the buyer
precise requirement, precise
precise
exactly what they want.
precise. Uh, in selling, the buyer has a key role in the success of the enterprise, in that he or she must closely watch consumer behavior and aptitude, their taste and demand. Though inventory, uh, though inventory control may or may not be the direct responsibility of purchasing officer, he is primarily responsible for ensuring that sufficient supply of material and components are available to maintain continuity in production of production or sale. The buyer may do the buyer may do this by contract with supplier for a regular delivery, or by building up stock to be used as and when required.
So, what are the first thing is they should have a good knowledge about the place or the market from which they are getting their raw material or semi finished goods, or even finished goods which they are again selling it to someone else. So they should know ki who is the person who is the supplier or vendor who will be delivering their goods or services on time, a bit good quality. So all these things, if they don't have, then they will not know whom to approach, from where to buy, because that is the very first step. If that is not done properly, it will affect the final production of the good or service which you are doing. Like for example, if it is a school and college, school where you are training, so that is why in some universities and colleges, the raw material, the students, they are taken after through some competitive exam, because they want to know whether they have the particular interest and the talent to do that particular course or not. Like naturally, if somebody is not very good in mathematics, so that person will not be selected for an engineering course. Maybe he is very creative, so he might go for something in that particular course. So his aptitude, his talent, his knowledge, all these are, then only, after all, when we say ki IIT students are getting the packages which the IIT students are getting is very high. But why? Because they have been selected, because that is their input. The selection, first thing is the good students should be of that caliber, and even the teachers, they also get selected in as faculty of IITs only if they have the certain caliber. It is a very tough competition. So only then, when these talented teachers, they teach these talented students, then only they are eagerly absorbed by the corporate sector and are given very high package, because they are also getting, it is also what for corporate world, it is also their return on investment. So they will be investing on those students, or the future generation who will be working there as corporate leaders, or at various levels of management. So they should get that return, then only they'll invest. So for that, so the first thing, the purchasing, that is the first thing anywhere, whether you are producing some good or you are doing certain services. I have just given an example of a educational institute. It can be a hospital also. The doctors who will be treating what type of patients will be coming there, whether the doctors have the capability and the knowledge and the skill to treat them, then only you can uh, ascertain that those patients will be treated, they'll be cured. Otherwise, what's the point of going to a hospital if the doctor does not have the knowledge, the capability, and there are various supporting equipment. If it is not there, then naturally the result will not be good. So first thing is the purchasing, then only other activities will come. The first step should be taken very, very carefully. And naturally, if they're producing something, so they should be very in close contact with the production department, so that they'll know precisely what quality they want, at what price they want, how much they want, uh, quality, quantity, time, then the features they want in the raw material, everything. And then only they'll be able to do the right purchasing for the production department. Yes. Um, who was reading? Anu Kumari.
Yes, ma'am.
And now Sharmila, you continue.
In most organizations, the purchasing department is responsible for negotiating purchase prices and terms of credit.
Mm.
Purchasing is also generally responsible for ensuring that the good orders and invoiced are actually received, and that price charged are those quotes to
Quoted.
minimize risks. Necessary checks are to be carried out by people not directly involved in the order.
Mm.
Purchasing will be continue monitor expected delivery to ensure that suppliers fulfill their commitment regarding qualities and delivery dates. Purchasing will continuously in, invest, inve-
Investigate.
investigate
Investigate.
investigate the market
Mm,
to seek better product price terms or deliveries, to
Mm.
find out alternative supplier to ensure continuity of delivery in case the main source suddenly fail for reason.
mm. So they are the ones who are responsible for negotiating the price, because naturally you want it at a certain reasonable price, at the reasonable quality and quantity. I suppose sometimes you have to give them on credit also, purchase, and maybe you some terms and condition can be there that they'll supply the things, but they won't get the finance immediately, maybe after certain time, once the maybe once the goods are sold and the organization is able to procure enough finances for that particular good, then for certain time there can be certain, whatever it is, some policies and procedures will be there, and they can negotiate with the suppliers and see that they follow those policies and procedures. And you have to see कि whatever has been ordered, that exactly that thing has been delivered. अब इनवॉइस में तो कुछ लिख दिया, and when the actual good comes, it some things are different. So those things have to be, all these things have to be looked by the purchase department. It is not just by just ordering and getting the things, but keep on monitoring it. Whatever you have ordered, and at what price, at what quality, at what time it is adhered, and then be open to the market. It is not that maybe tomorrow some better suppliers will enter the market. So you have to be open. You have to keep on interacting with the external environment, getting the knowledge that because it is a dynamic field. It is not a static. Once one thing is done, it will be done in the same way. Maybe better technology, better material is coming in the market. So you have to be, as a purchaser, you have to be fully aware of it. So you have to be tuned with to the market. Yes, continue, Sharmila.
Purchasing relations with other function. The purchasing department probably has the direct relations with more functional departments throughout the organizations than any other single department. Its primary relationship is in manufacturers and similar industry enterprises is with the three aspects of production engineering, production planning, and production control. It is serve productions engineering by advising on the ability and cost of both equipment and material. The, the buying department by its constant
Investigate,
investigation
investigation. Huh.
into all the appropriate source of supplies has a wide knowledge and experience with which to advise on these important matters. A simple service is provided for production planning where information concern availabilities and continue of supplies is vital if production is to be planned efficiently.
Effectively. So it has, it is related with the purchasing, because that is the first entry into the organization. So it is related to all the other functional areas. Because see, first thing you take production engineering, it is affecting production planning, what to because they have to see what is available, at what cost it is available, when it is available. So then only they can do their whole production. In production engineering also, the type of material what is, so those things will only be designed to produce the desired object. And finally, production control. When things are, whether things are moving, monitoring the whole process and seeing whether the things are moving in the right direction or not. So buying department is in constant investigation, and it can give correct because with it's working with these things for over so many years, it has gathered so much knowledge that they can advise these three departments: production engineering, production planning, and production control, how to do things more effectively and efficiently. Yes, continue, Sharmila.
Equally, production control benefits from the activities of the purchasing department since this department is concerned with monitoring delivery performance of suppliers and finding out alternative sources of supply. If delays or breakdown in the main source of supplies occur or are likely to occur in near future. The purchasing department also has a direct relationship with the marketing function. It is because customer remark and complaints, especially in respect of material qualities, have a direct bearing on what is purchased and sometimes where. Purchasing is also very much to do with finance. The buying department is a major spender in any organization. It link with accounts department is therefore obvious. Credit terms in regards to payment times and cash discount are as important as the actual price purchase price.
So it is not only the production department it is related to, but it is also related with the marketing, because marketing, from marketing only you get the uh, response from the customers, whether they are satisfied with the good or not, whether they, what they were looking for and for the price they have paid for, that is being satisfied or not. So they have to see to it that whatever they are purchasing, it is according to the requirement of the final customer, because that is the goal. Because you have to satisfy the customer. Even if suppose according to your rules and your norms and your appraisal, you are doing your best, but you are not able to satisfy the customer, it is useless. So it has to be with, it should know what actually the, and that they'll know only through marketing department, because the marketing is finally directly connected with the customer. The customer, to retain a very good customer relationship, this is very important. If the customers needs are fulfilled properly. And naturally, finance, nothing can be done without finance. From where to get the finance, what will be the credit term, say whether you are buying, you are giving cash, or you are buying on credit, or you are getting certain discount. So all these things will matter, how they are managing the finance for purchasing the particular raw material. So they are also related very directly with the finance department. Hmm. Now, Disha, you continue. Disha, are you present?
Ma'am, she is not in the class.
Acha, she is not in the class.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Disha. Then, Shamiksha, you are
Yes,
there.
ma'am.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you read.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Proper timing of purchases can have a positive effect on working capital. If, for example, credit terms are for remittance at the end of the month following delivery, then orders for delivery in the first week of a month allow for 2 months credit before payment is due. Many
Hmm.
such devices are also used by the purchasing department to benefit the financial aspect of the organization. Very often, for example, The buyer may be able to strike a good bargain for the organization, and an efficient purchasing officer is one who is always alert and is able to make use of such favorable offers. On the other hand, prudence must always prevail in this connection as the costs of storage can easily absorb may savings made by favorable prices.
So purchasing department has a very important role. Uh, but what happens generally in government organization, the purchase manager, because he is negotiating with the supplier. So sometimes people use these things. It is my practical experience. Sometimes they purchase uh, raw material at a lesser price, but in their invoice they show more price, and the quality is also not to the mark, and that affects. And that is why so many times the things which are produced are not up to the mark, and it is not properly used by the consumer. And but not realizing this is a very, it is a okay shortcut method for making money, but in the long run the organization loses, then you lose, the country loses. So these things should be avoided. They should be very careful what actually the customer wants and what should be purchased at what price, what should be the optimum price. So the finances is also under control. Not like sometimes they might buy something, they are getting discount and they buy it in bulk, very huge bulk, but carrying cost, upkeeping cost of that is very high, then it is of no use. Like for example, some perishable good, like suppose in a uh, 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 some food grain, suppose you are not able to keep the food grain properly, either it will perish after some times, or it will be affected by worms and other things, natural calamities. So in that case, even if you had bought it at a very cheap price, finally you will not be benefiting it. So they should be very careful. Purchasing price department should be very careful how much they'll be spending on upkeep of that. So all these things matter. The final cost of the product will depend on all these factors. Continue.
As with other functions, there must be a clear policy on purchasing laid down. This is, of course, ultimately the responsibility of top management, but the purchasing officer will have a great deal of advice to give on this matter. Perhaps the first item of purchasing policy to be considered will be the level of stocks to be carried. The normal pattern of deliveries by suppliers may determine this. If suppliers are generally constant, then reliance can be placed on a continuing receipt of goods ordered. But if they are erratic, it may be more prudent to establish a stock to ensure regular input to production. Costs of holding stores, quantity discounts, the possible financial implications of production stoppages, and vulnerability to deterioration and to theft will all play a part in making this decision. Secondly, certain raw materials are subject to wide price fluctuations, so it may be both rational and profitable to purchase large quantities when they become available at low prices. There are two advantages in doing this. First, the production department gains the benefit of low price inputs, which will lead to lower selling prices. This will give the final products a competitive price edge. Alternatively, the lower cost may give an opportunity to make higher profits if there is a market for the company's product. Second, when raw materials prices rise, the organization may be able to dispose of its surplus stocks at a profit and thus make a gain by holding the stocks.
So the purchasing policies, okay, it is made by people at a higher level of management, but they have to get the input from the purchasing officer, because they only know how, what is available, at what price is available, and they should see to it कि good purchasing policies are established, so they can buy things at a lower price when the prices have fallen. Stock, keep it in such a way that it does not deteriorate over time. So how much money is spent on that, that has to be taken into consideration, and accordingly the amount of things to be purchased should be decided. So all these things, this should be a clear cut policy. In case some suppliers are not uh, supplying things smoothly, their supply is very erratic, so in that case what they should do, should they buy something in advance, so that their production does not is not affected. So they or either they should not select such a supplier. The type of supplier they have to select should be one who is doing his work according to the rules and regulation, and for which he has promised. Only then that supplier should be selected. So these are the things with the purchasing policy should clearly define the accountability of the supplier as well as the accountability of the purchaser. Yes, continue.
Thirdly, thirdly is entering into short or long-term contracts for the purchase of materials to be part of the purchasing policy, or is it to be the policy to go to the market as when materials are actually required? When prices generally are rising or when supplies are difficult or uncertain, such as practice is such a practice is attractive. On the other hand, being committed to one supplier at fixed prices may be damaging if prices fall suddenly or supplies from the contractor fail for some reason.
So they should be make it clear in their policy whether should go for short term or long term contracts, because sometimes what happens, if you go for a long term contract and the suppliers supplies are not done smoothly, then also you'll be, or some other suppliers might be in future selling those the same material at a lower cost. So you have to be very careful when you are, whether if the supplier is, you have that knowledge or the data that the supplier is good and he or she will be supplying the material at the required uh, at the right price, at the right quality, then you can go for it depends on the situation. So they have to study the situation and then only formulate whether they should go for long term or short term uh, contracts, because long term means flexibility will be reduced and short term means more flexibility will be there. If there is a dynamic change in the market, they can easily change their suppliers. Yes. Samiksha. Swati Singh,
Yes, ma'am.
you read.
Objectives of efficient purchasing. The objectives of efficient purchasing can be set out in the seven rights, which may be expressed to buy the right good at the right price in the right quantity of the right quality at the right time, delivered to the right place on the right terms. These are the seven aspects of efficient purchasing, are self-explanatory and enter into all buying operations.
So we were talking about these things. That these seven rights you have to see. Any purchasing department has to see to it that the goods are of the right goods are being purchased at the right price. It is being purchased the right quality quantity in the right quantity. It is being purchased on the right quality is there, but the quality which they want for their product, that is being adhered to at the right time, because when you want the thing then only it should reach you, otherwise it will be of no use, because uh, if you are not able to cater to the market at the time that good is required over there, then it is, you will not be able to make profit. And on the right terms, whatever terms and conditions have been decided, it is being adhered to. So these are the things, only then only you say it is a efficient purchasing pattern. Yes, continue, Swati.
Stock control. The question of whether stock of materials and components should be the responsibility of the purchasing function has no universal answer. Some undertakings have such stocks under the control of production on the basis that the physical availability of these items is part of the manufacturing function. Others say that as the purchasing department is responsible for procurement, then it is this department's responsibility to control and account for stocks. Many other believe that storage and stock control should be a department separate from either, particularly as the financial value of stock held is usually very considerable.
So who should control the stock? That is the question. Like some say it is the production department should control because they'll be using it. Some say it is purchasing department because they are buying it. Some say no, it should be a separate department who should look after it, because lot of holding that, controlling the stock, financial consideration is also there. What should be the size of the stock which is under control? How much money is locked up in that? So it will, according to the situation, according to the uh, m- m- availability of the stock, these things can be decided. It is not a universal you have to follow, only the production department will be holding it, or the purchasing department or a separate department will be taking control of the stock. There's no universal answer to it. It depends upon the situation to situation, from organization to organization. Yes, continue.
These 3 points of view are really relevant only where operations are conducted in one site or on a very small number of nearby sites and relate largely to
Reliable, uh, related largely to, yes, continue, sorry.
manufacturing activities. Other industries and activities such as building construction, where operations are carried out on site, have the question answered to them. Every building site and every civil engineering site, for example, must of necessity have materials and components at hand under the direct control of the site manager by whatever name he is known. The
Hmm.
main objective of stock holding and stock control are to ensure an adequate flow of materials and components required for the organization's operation, to keep minimum stock commensurate with operational requirement, to ensure the good physical condition and safety of the stock held, and to reduce the possibility of fraud and theft as much as possible. The precedence sorry the procedure the
Procedure.
procedure, sorry, required to carry out these objectives will vary according to the type of store held, their physical disposition, and the rate of the usage.
Hmm.
Finally, there seems to be no common usage of the word stock and store, and they are used in the same sense most of the time.
So, like suppose it depends upon the type of plant layout you have. If it is a manufacturing, whether it is process or product layout, so naturally there mostly it is controlled by the production department, because they have to see to it that the operation is not stopped. It it keeps on moving. And if suppose it is a fixed layout, where like a construction site, then all the stock should be there, because it is being used by there again, it is controlled by the production department, because they are the ones who are using it. So you don't you have to see to it ki, what is the type of work you are doing, then only it will determine which way, which three ways you will be using, whether the production department should take care of it, or the purchase department should take care of it, or the a separate department will take care of it. Yes, Swati. Nidhi, are you present?
Yes, ma'am.
You read.
Receiving, inception and storage. Effective material management procedures include taking regular inventories, requisitions based on needs, receiving and inspections, incoming items, proper storage and protection of items, and ensuring proper use of items. The main aim of the inspection is to prevent the production of non standard items. As such, an inspection of material is of the utmost importance. Both quality and quantity must be checked and inspected systematically. Materials are received in an organization's storage department where they are stored until issued to be to the using department. Materials are preserved to protect them from different types of damages, which maintain their original value and quality. Maintaining the original value and quality of materials can improve production quality while reducing storage and production cost.
So these two things, receiving, inspection, and storage, were very important. The material management means you have to keep it in a place where they can be stored safely. They, they are not being damaged by natural calamities. They are not being sold by some antisocial elements. So, and the quality and the quantity which you require for production is maintained. So these three things are very important in any organization. What is receiving? It is given over here. Yes, continue, Nidhi.
Receive incoming materials, physical check received materials, arranged for speedy and proper inspection, raised goods, inward note, notify the user departments about availability or non availability of materials required by them, inform the purchase section regarding excess supply, shortage, or defective supply,
Mm.
deliver material to appropriate places for storage, prepare record keeping.
So this is the functions which a receiving department has to do. The materials they are receiving, then physically check they are in proper condition, arrange the speedy and proper inspection, because there has to be a team which is doing the inspection. So you have to see that they are done it in a proper way, and they don't waste a lot of time in doing that. And raise goods inward nodes, how they'll be moving from the receiving end, where are they required, how they'll be moving. Some note has to be raised for its movement. And then you have to uh, inform each and every department where they'll be used, whether it is available, whether there is shortage, whatever is the condition. And and that also you have to inform it to the purchasing department if it is uh, excess supply has been done, if there is a shortage or defective supply is there. So all these things, the information should move regularly between the receiving and the place where they'll be used, and it should be stored properly. As I told you, the quality, the quantity of the material has to be maintained. If the quality or the quantity deteriorates with time, will not uh, serve the purpose for which it has been purchased. And naturally, you have to keep a record of all these things. Yes, next, Nidhi, inspection. Once you have done the
Yes,
receiving,
ma'am.
the, yes, continue.
It is necessary to thoroughly inspect any materials purchased either at supplier's warehouse or godown or at the time goods are received by the receiving department. The main aim of the inspection is to prevent the production of non standard items. As such, an inspection of material is of the utmost importance. Both the quality and quantity must be checked and inspected systematically.
So this is quite clear. Okay, either you do it at the when the materials are purchased, or when it is received and stored somewhere, and at both the ends you can do the inspection and see the quality and the quantity is what you have ordered for. Otherwise, your product will be, the quality and the quantity of your product will be affected. Yes, objectives of inspection.
Objectives of inspection: to maintain product quality, to receive only the correct quantity of materials, to ensure that suppliers are careful and efficient, to utilize the money invested optimally, to increase the watchfulness of the purchase and store staff.
Mm. So these are the 5 objectives of inspection. So you have to seek quality and quantity, and uh, the purchase department is also doing its work properly. Now, Khushi, are you present?
Yes, ma'am.
So you read from
The
receiving. We
storage of
have come to inspection. Now to storage of materials.
storage of materials. Material are received in a organization storage department where they are storage stored until issued to the using department. Materials are preserved to protect them from different type of damage which maintain their original value and quality.
Mm.
Maintaining the original value and quality of material can improve production quality while reducing storage and production cost. Storage of material, therefore, is a critical function.
So naturally, once you have, okay, when you had received it, it was in good condition. You have inspected it after receiving and have said it is okay. But if it is not stored properly, if it gets damaged over there, then naturally, what will happen? It will affect your whatever you are producing, and it will affect your market. It will affect your profitability, your name in the market, your goodwill, everything. So, doing the proper storage, that the quality and the quantity of the material is properly maintained. So you are using the same material which had been received and inspected. Till that it was okay, but while storing the material, if something goes wrong, then also your output will be affected. So storage is a very critical part, where you have to maintain the quality and the quantity of the material. Yes.
Aim of storage: keeping materials safe, protecting materials from damage, protecting materials from loss of value and quality, ensuring the availability of material in a perfect and serviceable condition, ensuring the smooth and efficient functioning of the production department.
So these are the 5 aim of storage. You have to see, keep you are keeping the material in a safe way, and it is not being damaged or stolen. Then protecting damage भी होगा उसका quality whatever, that is the main aim of the storage, so that your production is done smoothly and efficiently, and it is producing what it is aiming to produce. It is not producing something of a lesser quality or quantity.
Efficient storage requires careful consideration of the following: checking of materials, classification of materials, con- uh, codification
Codification.
of materials, arranging of materials, systematic storage of material in bins, racks, and other places, keeping watch on different heights and levels of the storage.
So efficiently, that means you check the material, then you classify where according to their classification they should be stored. Some can be big, some can be small, some can be of different nature. One can be solid, and some there can be liquid, powder, whatever it is, and give certain codes to each. Okay, so that when you are retrieving it from the code, you can easily know ki what type of material is required and what should be retrieved. So arranging the material in a systematic way, it has to be stored properly, because it is not to be left over there as it is. It has to be used in the production department, but by the department them. So receiving and getting, if it is not done systematically, retrieving those materials will be a difficult job, and that will affect your productivity. Maybe something which is very heavy should be stored at a lower level, something which is lighter will be stored at a higher level. All these things you have to consider to make your storage efficient.
Requiring bids before purchase. The process of competitive bidding. Interested vendors send their bids for consideration within a specific period. The bids are selected to increase the
Sealed. They are sealed in a sealed packet.
sale to increase the confidently of each vendor proposal after the expire of the bid submission period. The recipient of the bids then selects the bidder with the lowest or best term for the RF, RFP. The selection can be done in an open or closed bidding process.
Mhm.
In addition to the procurement of goods and service, competitive bids are also used in the sale of company, where an investment banker can solicit letter of intent from potential buyer. The bidding process is aimed at increasing the competitiveness of the bid, avoiding preferential treatments, and ena- enabling company to get the best offer. For a vendor to be selected to fulfill the supply of products and or services, they must demonstrate their capability, history, and readiness to execute the project.
So before selecting the supplier, you have to do selective bidding. On a particular date, this they are given certain time. Have to fulfill the questionnaire. What will be the features, at what cost will they'll be, the quality, the quantity, everything, at what time they'll be deliver everything. So it is in sealed envelope, so that the confidentiality, but nobody knows what you are doing. So, and once the date is over, the uh, envelopes are open, and on all these criteria which has been specified by the company or the organization, they'll go through everything and they select the best. Maybe some, maybe giving at a lower cost, maybe the quality is not all that good. So depending upon their selection, whatever they think is the best, they'll be selecting that particular vendor. Continue. Read this.
Requiring bids before purchasing. Bidding is a process by which the buyer requests competing companies, suppliers to satisfy price, delivery date, quality, uh, specification, other check and assurance. Bids can be requested where the price is fixed and the creativity and quality of the solution is at stake. First, advertising agencies bid for accounts that have a set budget.
Hmm.
Second, consulting organization work under a specific budget allocation.
Mhm.
Bid requests, request for proposal state specifically all the conditions that must be met.
So they will, the purchasing organization will ask for price, delivery dates, the bidding. There can be several people who would like to become the supplier. So they'll say ki what, at what price they'll be selling, at by what time they'll be delivering the goods or services, what quality specification has been asked, accordingly they'll reply. Any other checks and assurances what the organization wants. And so according to by analyzing all these things, the organization will select the number of purchase just they want to select, maybe one or maybe more than one. It depends upon the situation and the number of bidders that has bidded for the particular, to become this particular supplier. Ah. Now Khushi, who was
Yes,
reading now?
Khushi.
Khushi was reading, then Kashish.
What are critical spare parts? Critical spare parts are items that are essential for the continued daily operations of your organization's most important physical assets. These parts are identified as critical because their failure or unavailability may contribute to major operational disruptions, prolonged downtime, heightened safety risk, and costly production delays. Organizations will typically use a combination of factors to determine which spare parts qualify as critical, including importance of the equipment to core operations and production process, impact of failure on the overall functionality of your equipment, lead time for procuring required spare parts, cost of downtime with a focus, and disruptions that can cause significant loss of productivity and revenue, safety and compliance risk related to the malfunction or failure of specific physical assets.
So just like when we were talking about project management, we were thinking ki most emphasis should be placed on your critical path, because anything goes wrong on the critical path, it will affect the duration of the project. So you have given, because you have promised to finish that project under certain time limit. A- and if you don't pay attention to this critical path, so similarly in any organization there are certain critical parts will which is very important for the production process. So you have to be very careful about this, these critical parts, pay most attention to these, that because they are important, because they'll affect the core operation and production process. If they their impact will if they are badly impacted, something goes wrong with them, it will lead to failure. Then if how much lead time is required to get that spare part which is critical to the for the organization, the cost of downtown with her focus on disruption, how much time is wasted if it is not working properly. Then safety and compliance, all these things you have to see these are the parts which are critical, which will lead to these problems. If these parts lead to these problems, you have to pay more attention to these parts.
How to adopt a critical spare parts inventory strategy. Components that qualify as critical spare parts may demand special attention in the scope of both your inventory management and maintenance strategies. Adopting a strategic approach to critical spare parts management might require your business to take some of the following steps. Maintain higher stock levels for
Just
items
one second,
identified.
one second. Give
Yes,
me
ma'am.
1 second. I will continue after few minutes. हाँ हेलो।
हेलो नमस्ते दीदी।
हाँ कौन हो?
वो क्या नाम साहिबा बोल रहे हैं, इस वाले नंबर पे रिचार्ज कर दीजिए 350
अभी हम क्लास ले रहे हैं, अब थोड़ी देर के बाद बात करना।
ठीक है।
रिचार्ज कर। Okay, Kashish, now continue. Start
Okay,
from
ma'am.
the beginning.
Okay.
Continue.
How to adopt a critical spare parts inventory strategy. Components that qualify as critical spare parts may demand special attention in the scope of both your inventory management and maintenance strategies. Adopting a strategic approach to critical spare parts management might require your business to take some of the following steps. Maintain higher stock levels for items identified as critical spares. Prioritize procurement, maintenance, planning, and budget allocation for critical spares with long lead times for delivery. Monitor the performance of equipment and maintenance teams by tracking metrics such as mean time between failures (MTBF) and mean time to repair (MTTR). Implement specialized maintenance strategies such as predictive maintenance or condition based monitoring in order to better forecast the need for certain critical spare parts and avoid ordering inaccuracies or excess inventory costs.
So you have to pay special attention to, because higher maintenance of these critical parts, because if these critical parts are not there, your productivity will be affected. So you have to give them more attention and see that you have enough in your stock. Because suppose getting that critical part, if the lead time is more, then naturally you have to see to it that some spare of that critical part is there. In case of uh, something goes wrong with the critical part, the spare part of the critical component can be utilized. And you have to their maintenance, their upkeeping, much more attention should be paid on that them.
ABC classification, the system context.
This is
In the
just 1 second. ABC classification is a part of your inventory control. There are many types of inventory control. One is your ABC classification. One, you have a mathematical modeling also, which is known as EOQ, economic order quantity. And this is a ABC classification where you classify the whole stock into three classes. Yes, continue.
In the dynamic landscape of supply chain and inventory control, understanding the value and significance of each item in one's stockpile is paramount. ABC classification offers a structured approach to categorize products based on their importance. ABC classification is a crucial technique in inventory management that categorizes products based on their value and importance, derived from the Pareto principle. It focuses on the vital few items that contribute significantly to revenue. This classification system divides inventory into three categories. Class A, these are high value items accounting for only 10% of quantity but contributing to 70% to 80% of consumption value. Class B, these items have moderate importance, making up 10-20% of revenue. Class C, consisting of the least valuable items, they contribute only 10% of revenue. This classification aids managers in prioritizing and monitoring high value items effectively.
So see, anywhere you go, even if you take your monthly budget, uh, uh, say your food budget, there are certain things which are not very uh, valuable, but you can buy them in bulk. Like for example, if you want see your budget, food budget, grains comparatively they are cheaper, and but you can buy it in a much larger quantities. But other things like butter, um, oil, which is costlier, but it has got more value monetarily, it is more, so you don't buy it in a larger quantity. So everywhere, anywhere you go, there are, for example, if you go to a manufacturing, like for example, if you take, there's one Banaras Locomotive Works over here, you go to them, there are certain items like nuts and bolts, which is, they can buy it in huge quantities, because keeping them also, upkeeping them is also does not cost much, because they won't deteriorate, they are not affected by the environment. But some critical part of the loco, which will be very costly, so you will not buy them in bulk, you will buy one or two, whatever is really required. So you classify accordingly, you control the inventory according to their value and their, what is the need, then only you will buy it. If you don't need it, if it is not very valuable and it is very costly, then you will naturally, you'll buy only few uh, of those items, so that your work is not affected. But other thing which is not very valuable, you can buy it in bulk and keep it wherever it is required, they'll be used. So generally, any inventory level is classified in these three things: class A, class B, and class C. In class A, it is items only 10%, like very critical items, which are mainly one or two of that will be bought by the diesel locomotive work. But it can only 10% of it, but it is contributing to 70% or 80% of the consumption value. Critical, maybe some engine, some light, or something very, which is affecting the whole, how the engine works. But nuts and bolt, which will come under class C, it is of the least volume and only contribute only 10% of the revenue. Value is come, and also its contribution is less. Accordingly, we prioritize and monitor uh, these things, and if class A we give more importance, class B we give lesser importance. Accordingly to the class, we give them importance. Yes, come, continue.
Ma'am, I think we have to continue with the 35th slide.
नहीं, नहीं,
34th slide.
34, yes, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Certification of suppliers, verifying that a vendor operates, maintains, improves, and records effective processes to satisfy the customer's need is known as certification. Requirements such as price, quality, delivery, flexibility, maintenance, safety, and ISO quality and environmental standards are all possible. The purpose of supplier certification is to ensure that the product or service meets specific requirements, usually related to quality or environmental standards. Third party assessors verify that the supplier meets the required standard and issues a certificate if successful. Certification can be used as a means of qualification for tendering and may also be a requirement of customers. A number of different schemes and standards are in use, including ISO 9000 quality, ISO 14001 environmental, BS 25999 business continuity, and OHSAS 18001 occupational health and safety. The scheme used should be appropriate to the product or service being supplied.
So every supplier should also get a certificate. कि the things which they are supplying adheres to the quality of the thing, of the product which they are supplying, whether they are not uh, influencing the environment detriment adversely. They are helps in making keeping the continuity of the business. They are uh, they are not affecting our health and the safety of the workers using that equipment. So this certificate, accordingly, if they get this certificate, then only these suppliers will be selected by the organizations.
Benefits of supplier certification. Improved quality of product or service. Certification helps to ensure that suppliers operate to a defined standard, which in turn leads to improved quality of the product or service supplied. Reduced cost and improved efficiency. Certification can help to reduce cost by identifying and eliminating poor quality suppliers and also improve efficiency through improved communication and coordination between supplier and customer. Increased customer confidence. Certification can provide customers with reassurance that the supplier meets specific quality standards. Improved access to market. Certification may be a requirement for doing business with certain customers or in certain markets, so it can give suppliers a competitive edge.
So these are the four benefits which the supplier gets through this certification, because this improves the quality of the service, because they have, that means they'll be supplying goods of a proper quality, quantity, at adhere it has adhered to all the quality norms. It is not detrimental to the environment. It is not adversely affecting the health and safety of the workers. All these, then this will improve the quality of the service and the product, reduce cost, and it will also reduce the cost and improve efficiency, because if they adhere to all these norms, naturally they'll be, this shows that they are doing their work more efficiently, and if you do the work more efficiently, wastage is low, and thus the cost is reduced, and customers confidence in their product increases, because the customer also knows this certificate has been given to the supplier. That means the supplier is adhering to all these norms, and this will improve your access to the market, because if the customer is more confident about your product, they'll be buying your product more than your competitors. So the supply, but if your product access to the market increases, the supplier also, because they are the one who is initiating the whole process. Yes, continue.
Enhanced image and reputation. Certification can help to build a positive image and reputation for the supplier in the eyes of customers and other stakeholders. Increased business opportunities. Certification can help to open up new business opportunities for the supplier. Greater control over the supply chain. Certification can give suppliers a greater degree of control over the entire supply chain from raw materials to finished products. Improved safety. Improved safety is one of the main benefits of certification to health and safety standards such as OHSAS 18001.
So this will also improve their, because they if you are supplier to one organization does not mean you are not a supplier, but if you have this certification, naturally you'll be open to more organization will be willing to keep you as a supplier. So your business opportunities will be also increase, and you will have a better control over the supply chain, because you are the one who is giving things on the right quality and the right quantity, and adhering to all the norms and conditions, which is such as keeping safety measures, not affecting the environment, or not damaging the environment. So this also improves your, you have better control over the supply chain, as well as you are giving more safety measures to the organization.
Disadvantages to supplier certification. Cost. Certification can be expensive, especially if third party assessors are used.
Mm.
Time consuming. The process of obtaining and maintaining certification can be time consuming, particularly if multiple standards need to be met. Bureaucratic. The process of certification can be bureaucratic and inflexible, which can lead to frustration on the part of suppliers. Subjective. The assessment criteria used by third party assessors can be subjective, which can lead to disagreements between suppliers and customers. Inconsistent. The application of different certification schemes and standards can lead to inconsistency and confusion among suppliers and customers. In spite of these potential disadvantages, supplier certification is becoming increasingly common as more companies recognize the benefits it can bring. It is an important tool for ensuring quality and compliance with environmental, health, and safety standards, and can help to improve the efficiency and competitiveness of business.
So there are, you can take it as disadvantages, because see, actually all these things, because this is something extra, so it is a costly effect. A third party, maybe not your organization, but an independent party assesses it, how, whether the supplier is should get this certificate or not. So extra cost is involved, and it is time consuming, naturally analyzing all these factors and seeing to it that they are adhering to all these norms and conditions. Then it can be bureaucratic also. The process of it can be inflexible. Some of people assessing this can be very rigid, so it can lead to frustration. Then it can be subjective also, because it is not being done objectively, it is done by human being. So it can be subjective also, it can be inconsistent. There are so many different norms. Maybe you are adhering to one norm, then you are exploiting the other norms. So you have to be very careful. You are adhering to all the norms, as well as not adversely affecting anything. But in spite of all these disadvantage, this is a very good way of assessing the suppliers and giving the suppliers a way to enter the market. Yes. The final conclusion.
Conclusion. Material management is a critical aspect of supply chain management that ensures the smooth flow of materials from suppliers to production and eventually to customers. It involves planning, procurement time, control of material to ensure that the right material is available at the right quantity and the right cost.
So, because after all, it is the material which is moving, and through this, whether you are even if you are in service organization, there are certain, through certain materials only you will be able to fulfill that service. So the proper procurement, the proper flow of that material has to be adhered to. So only then you can expect to get a good result and achieve your objective. Any questions? Hello?
No, ma'am.
So this is quite clear. Everything is clear. Okay. So next will be your IT enabled. So next we'll be continuing with IT enabled supply chain management. As you know, today IT has become an inherent, it is integrated in each anything which we do, whether we are working, whether we are enjoying, or whether we are producing something. Without IT we are not able to do. So this is something which is there everywhere, because without information you cannot come to any decision. Yes, this is a photograph of your supply chain management. You have sourcing raw material, then manufacturing, and then it goes to the delivering it to the this is the maybe if it is a service in the industry, you are training some people, or you are curing some people, or you are giving them hospitality. If it is a hotel industry, if it is a say school or colleges, educational institutions, it can be a service industry, insurance industry, you're doing some service, but it is some raw material is some processing is being done on that material, and then with added value is this being delivered to the customer. Yes, we'll again start from Anu Kumari. Anu Kumari, hello, have you left?
Yes, ma'am, she is not here.
Acha, Sharmila,
Yes, ma'am.
you continue.
Information affect every part of the supply chain. Information serves as the connection between various stages of the supply chain, allowing them to coordinate maximum the supply chain profitabilities.
Possibly.
Information is also important to the day-to-day operations of each stage in supply chain. To become more responsive and effective, company need to consider information as an important driver. A supply chain is a supply
Yes,
A supply
continue.
chain is a complex logical system that consists of facilities that convert raw material into finished product and distribute them to end consumer or end customers. Meanwhile, supply chain management deal with flows of goods in distribution channel within the supply chain in the most efficient manner. Information
Efficient.
efficient manner. Information technology help one to achieve one objective.
So without information, this conversion is not possible, because this is through information, because there are so many stakeholders in the supply chain. So if they do not coordinate with each other, they do not communicate with each other, they do not pass the information, if the information is about the size of the quality of the quantity of the raw material is not passed to the manufacturer, from manufacturer the finished good. So all this information, flow of information is very important to achieve your objective. It is inherent part of not only for coordinating, but at each stage information is required. Yes, continue, Sharmila.
Yes, ma'am.
Continue.
To digitalize, to dis, digitalize,
Digitalize,
to the digitalize, the digital, sorry,
digitation.
the digitalizations of the supply chain enable companies to address the new requirement of the customer, the channel on the supply side, as well as the remaining expectations in efficiency improvement. Digitalize, digitalize,
Digitization.
sorry ma'am,
Digitization. L नहीं है
digi,
वहाँ.
sorry ma'am,
Digitization.
digitization bring
Hmm.
about a supply chains 4.0, which will able, which have the following features:
Hmm.
faster. New approach of the product distribution reduce the delivery times of the higher runner of few hours. The basics for this service is built by advanced forecasting approach. Example, predictive analytic of internal example demand and external. Example, market trends, weather, school function,
School vacation.
school vacation,
Construction in
construction
indices.
indices, indices,
Indices.
indices, data as well as machine status data for spare part demand, and provide a much more precise forecast of customer demand. Forecasts are not carried out on the monthly basis but weekly. And for the very fasting movement, product even every day. In future, we will see predictive shipping for which Amazon hold a patent.
Let's continue. क्या हुआ?
The customer reason, and the shipment is reroute to the exact customer's destination.
See what happens today when you are ordering through Amazon, you're ordering so many things. So sometimes I think even with me it has happened. I used to order sugar free through Amazon. This time, without even my ordering, it has reached me after, because after every 3 months I used to order for 1 kilo pack. So this time it has reached even without I. So this is predictive analytics, because they know I need this, so they have sell that order, and automatically the money has been deducted from my account. So these things, the IT, the way it is making this thing move faster, because you see, when you go for computerization, there are certain things. Yesterday also I had said, one is your speed, and the is the data, number of data which they can handle, the and then the speed with which they can handle has increased enormously. So one of the first and most important benefit which you get from digitization is faster. Things are moving much more faster. In uh, Today, you take your how things are moving. It is much more faster than what it was moving a few years back. Yes, continue, Sharmila.
More,
Flexible.
more flexible. Add O H O
Ad
C.
hoc. Ad hoc. But whenever you require, it is done. There's no rigidity, because things are moving. You get the information today, so immediately you uh, relieve that product to the customer. So it is not rigid, it is flexible. You can move according to the requirement of the customers.
Ad
Yes, come.
hocs. Real-time planning allow a flexible reaction to the changing demand or supply situation. Planning cycles and frozen periods are minimized and planning become a continuous process that is enabled to react dynamically to changing requirement or constraint. Example, real-time production capacities feedback from machine. Once the products are sent, increased flexibility in the delivery process allow customer to reroute shipment to the most convenient destination. New business models such as supply chains as serve for the supply chain planning function to or transport management. Increase the flexibility in the supply chain organization. Supply chains can be brought as a service and paid for an by uses basis instead of having the resources and capability in-house. The specializations and focus of the service providers allow them to create economic of scales as well as economic of scope and also attractive outsourcing uh, opportunities. For example, we will see an urbanization of transportation, crowdsources flexible transportation capacity, which will be leaded to significant increase in ac- a- agilities
Agility
in agility in distribution network.
network. So see today, like for example, your mobility has become more flexible. You can order for a taxi, you can order for so many other whenever you require, and it is fulfilled because the whole network is bound together by the flow of easy flow of information. So it has become more flexible. You don't have to plan it long time back. Even if it is ad hoc, immediately things will be done. First was you faster, it is flexible, and it is more accurate because it is now done by machine. So the chances of making error has also gone down. And it has become more efficient because you're doing the repetitive work without feeling the fatigue and the boredom. So you are doing the work more efficiently because it is able to do take the amount of data it can take is enormous, and it can take number of interacting variables in one go and thus produce a more efficient output. So what is supply chain? It is logistics. Logistics means movement of goods and services. Things are moving from one place to another. You have inbound logistics, like when raw material is coming to the manufacturer. Then you have outgoing logistics when it is the finished good is going from the manufacturer to the final consumer. So the whole system of supply chain is based on logistics, movement of goods and services. Now you read this, Sharmila. Or next, Disha. Disha is not there. Samiksha.
Yes,
Samik.
ma'am.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Information technology in logistic activities
Huh.
contributes to the improvement of both the entire logistics and supply chain and its individual links. The importance of information in logistics process is increasing. One is continuously dealing with the growing pace of the information process. The effects of proper management of logistics information are visible, especially in such areas as inventory management, storage or distribution. Information flows
are an integral part of any logistics supply chain.
Mm.
IT has revolutionized traditional logistics and supply chains to achieve numerous benefits, such as increased efficiency and responsiveness. However, while on one hand supply chain challenges and practitioners' expectations in terms of achieving competitive advantage through the use of IT solutions are enormous.
Mm. So, because of the information, so the ease of information flow. Uh, for example, suppose today you get from somewhere, you want to submit a research paper somewhere, and the last date is approaching, but that, and you have to send it to some western countries, but then there is a benefit, there is a time lag. Suppose uh, you have to send it by, say, uh, uh, 13th January, and 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 you have finished it today, but because of this information technology, you will be able to send it through email, which immediately will send the desired research paper to its destination. uh, Initially, you if in the older days it used to go by mail, which required certain time. So by the time it would have reached its destination, the time limit would have been over. So this whole logistic flow of information has become very good. Now, even if you are transferring finances from one place to another, because of information technology, this has become faster and more efficient. The chances of making error has gone down.
Should I continue?
Yes, continue.
Use of IT within logistics and supply chains helped to achieve competitive advantage based on the characteristics of adaptation, alignment, and agility. Supply chain agility refers to quick response of supply chain to short-term changes because of uncertainties both in upstream and downstream supply chains. It is hence related to the ability of the supply chain to deal with unexpected changes in market demand and to have the appropriate capabilities to transform these changes into opportunities.
So, first advantage is your agility in this movement. This sudden, if there's sudden change in the system, you can easily adapt to it. Your whole approach is agile, not rigid, flexible.
Effective information
And,
management.
and adaptation is what? Like you, this agility is because you are able to adapt to the new change. And alignment, you align yourself with the new change. So these three things to go together: adaptation, alignment, and agility. Now continue with this.
Effective information management is crucial for optimizing logistics operations. Here are some key points highlighting the relationship. Enhanced decision making. Accurate and timely information allows logistics managers to make informed decisions regarding inventory levels, transportation routes, and delivery schedules. Improved efficiency. Information technology streamlines logistics processes by automating tasks such as order processing, tracking shipments, and managing warehouse operations. This reduces manual errors and speeds up operations. Cost reduction. Effective information management helps in identifying inefficiencies and reducing costs associated with logistics, such as fuel consumption, labor, and storage.
Mm.
Real time tracking. Advanced information systems provide real time visibility into the supply chain, allowing companies to track shipments and manage delays proactively. Customer satisfaction. By ensuring accurate and timely delivery of goods, effective information management enhances customer satisfaction and loyalty. Scalability.
Sorry. Just one second, one second.
Yes, ma'am.
Scalability.
Yes, ma'am. Information systems can easily scale with the growth of a business, ensuring that logistics operations remain efficient as the company expands.
So first of all, it increases decision making. You can take decision only when you have the information. For example, a small child, if he or she sees a sparkling object, and that sparkling object is flame, but he does that the child does not have the information that it will burn its finger. If it touches it, it will be attracted to it and it will try to touch it. But just because he or she does not have the information, a very small child, a child who is still in his mother's lap, so he'll try to touch it. Once it touches it and he burns his finger, that information, suppose there's no one else to check it, if someone is there, somebody, that person will check that. But suppose that the ones that information is there, so next time when he sees a sparkling object, it will, maybe that sparkling object is not a flame, but it will not touch the information. Then only you can. If you don't have the information, will not know what decision to take. If you don't know the market condition, then only you you have to know what will be the demand in future. Then only you will be able to produce that thing. So decision making becomes very easy when information system works properly. It increases efficiency, it reduces cost, and it helps you in real time tracking. For example, now all of us are familiar with this tracking system. Whatever you order online, whether food or any other object, you can track your delivery right from the time it is being produced to the time it reaches your destination. And this also leads to customer satisfaction. Then scalability. With the with time, you can improve your operation with help of information technology.
Relationship between information systems management and overall supply chain. Organizations and practice for decades have been integrating information and communication technologies into their production or operations or supply functions for enhancing performance in terms of reducing costs, improving customer service, and increasing the speed of delivery and reliability. Supply chain management relies heavily on information and communication technologies for handling transactions, performing communications, developing management insight, and exchanging information. Use of ICT tools in SCM started in the 1960s with the introduction of electronic data interchange or EDI systems, followed by material requirements planning or MRPI solutions in the 1970s, manufacturing resource planning MRP2 in the 1980s, and enterprise resource planning or ERP in the 1990s. Numerous ICT tools were developed and adopted throughout the past decades to support the increasingly complex supply chains.
So you have seen that the whole supply chain efficiency has improved with information technology, because without this has uh, the complexity has increased with time. But with ICT, this complexity can be easily handled and we can achieve our objective. First of all, this whole process started in 1960s with the data interchange, when electronically data between the supplier and the buyer can be interchanged electronically. So exactly what the supplier wants, what the buyer wants and what the supplier can give can be tracked, and uh, whatever norms have been set up, that can be adhered to. Then came the material requirement planning. It was matching of the things required for producing something. and when and what time, in what quality, these things were matched, and the whole operation of manufacturing, the efficiency of manufacturing system improved. Then came manufacturing resource planning. In that, this was a upgradation of MRP1, where only the manufacturing process was considered. But in this MRP2, the marketing, the financial, these things were also incorporated into this module. Then came ERP. ERP is enterprise, everything, all the functional areas, whether it is marketing, because final production depends upon the integration of the total functional areas, all the four functional areas. So in ERP, all the four functional areas started working together. It was not that in one go it was done. It is in a modular form. So initially, generally, the human resource module was introduced first, then financial model was integrated into that, then the operational model was integrated into that, then the financial model, all the integration of all the four modules is there in ERP. So all these things have improved the efficiency and the effectiveness of the supply chain. Yes, conclude.
In conclusion, IT's role in modern supply chain management is vast and varied, touching upon every facet of operations. From enabling efficiency and visibility to managing risks and transforming customer experiences, IT is an indispensable ally in the quest for a resilient, agile, and competitive supply chain.
So we have seen it integrates everything right from the customer to the raw material. It is integrating because it is from the raw material the customer will be satisfied through the various processes. So it is integrating everything, and it is making the whole system very effective and efficient. So I think for today we should conclude over here. Next Saturday will be one another lecture, and on following Sunday will be your test. I'll be giving you the topics. I'll be sending you the topics where you have to make a presentation of say 10 to 15 minutes. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have
Yes,
any
ma'am.
questions, you can
Yes,
ask
ma'am.
me. And your generation is now very much into IT. You cannot do anything without IT. Because of IT, so much uh, facilities are available to us. Today we are able to do online classes because with the help of IT only. You can see how it has come as a very big revolution, and every aspect of our life has been affected by this IT revolution. Okay, good night. If you don't have any question, if you have any question, you can ask me. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. No questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
Good night.
okay. Good night.